All right, so today we are going to learn about American Indian oral tradition. So first of all, what is it? Oral tradition is considered the stories that are passed down verbally over generations. These include teachings, storytellings, family, and tribal history, as well as contemporary Indian literature. And these are usually rich in cultural contexts. Why is it used? Oral tradition is used to describe and teach the purposes of people in relation to Earth. It also teaches the culture, philosophies, and religious beliefs of American Indians. And in turn, this helps preserve history over the generations. And this also teaches morals and lessons. These are some basic elements that are found in many oral tradition stories. They usually have a story that talks about how the earth was created. They usually have stories that explain human existence, ones that include respect and responsibility to all living things with whom we share the earth. And these stories usually include both human and mystical characteristics in them. All right, so oral tradition. Many of these stories are considered to be seasonal. The winter months are considered to be the season of stories or for storytelling. For example, the Dakota believe that the time to tell sacred stories is when the snakes and other animals hibernate underground and are covered with snow. In the Ojibwa culture, they believe that if stories are told in the summer, the animal spirit beings would then hear themselves spoken of. And this also just goes in turn with it's cold outside and they're huddled in teepees for days on end at times. And this kind of is a good time to come together and explain to younger generations the ways and cultures of their people. All right, so the storytellers themselves are held in high esteem among the tribe, and they're often older members of the family or of the tribe. They're usually talented in storytelling and acting. They didn't just take anybody. They always wanted someone who was good at elaborating stories and coming up with different ways of explaining these stories. And this was regarded as their profession. They were regarded as professional storytellers in the tribe. It was customary back in traditional times for those who requested a specific story to offer tobacco or some other gift to the storyteller. The storyteller would then use the tobacco to show respect for the spirits who lived in these stories and whose names were being mentioned. The types of stories that are told can range from humorous, serious, and tragic. Humorous stories usually contained absurd situations, roughness, and at times vulgarity. Serious or tragic stories appear in themes of cruelty, infidelity, death, misfortune, and struggle for livelihood. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to take a look at an example of a traditional creation story called Earth on Turtle's Back. So I'm going to hand this out to everybody, and we are going to partner read, and then we are going to come together and watch a video after this. So at this point, I would hand this document out, have them partner read, and if they were a younger class, I would probably read to them or find a recording for them to listen to while we read together. All right, so now that we finished reading Earth on Turtle's Back, we are going to take a look at this video. Maybe, there we go.
Creation stories really are a compass, I think. They give us an orientation to our place in the world.
I like to start with how there was a whole other place called the sky world above the earth. And the earth at that time was covered with water. In that world up above, and the beings there were very much like humans in the sense that there was a man and a wife, and the wife was pregnant, and like humans, desired a certain food. And what she wanted was the roots of this tree that was called the tree of light. Because she wanted this root from this tree of light so much, she ran over to it and began digging underneath the tree to get to the roots. But the ground started falling away. She started falling towards earth, and all the creatures down on earth were looking up and saw her coming. And the geese came up under her and helped her come down safely.
The very first interaction between human people and non-human people is one of care and kindness and generosity.
The other creatures in the water, especially the great turtle, looked up and thought, well, she'll need to land on something, and he offered his back.
And so that begins the discussion about Turtle Island.
When the earth began to grow on the back of the turtle, it began to grow because of Sky Woman's gratitude. It reminds us that the earth is alive because it is this gift of the turtle mixed with the gifts of all of the other beings.
She has her baby, and she has a girl. They take care of one another, and she grows until she's able to have babies.
Inside her belly, she felt them rumbling and tumbling, and it came time for birth.
The first baby's born normal, and this baby has a good mind, clear-headed, good mind, good spirit. And the second one that's in her is not so.
The second twin did not come as children come, but came to under her underarm, and it killed her.
And so when they came out, they grew rapidly, and they began to disagree with each other, battle with each other, tug of war, just like they were rumbling in the belly.
And one was always wanting to do something to help the earth, and the other one seemed to be contrary. And so whatever his brother made a rose, his other brother put a thorn on it.
And Creator solved this by giving the good-minded son the daytime hours, and the one with the not such a good mind, the nighttime hours.
And to create balance on earth, it has to be shown from the beginning with the twins.
All this wonderful creation was happening on both ways. So many things were being built, and the earth started looking wonderful and being wonderful, and there were all that they needed here.
Okay. So, now that we watched that video, it is now your turn. We're going to use a compare and contrast graphic organizer to compare the written story about Earth on a Turtle's Back to the one that we just heard in this video. What I would like you to do is to come up with 4 for each column. So find 4 things that only happened in the story Earth on a Turtle's Back. Find 4 things that only happened in the creation story video. And then find 4 similarities that happen between the two. Alright? So I'm going to pass this graphic organizer out and we will get started.